thank you to all of the people who are doing this presentation. What the information you're providing is so important. I remember all those years back when I first bought my home, I wish that there had been a presentation like this. So what you're doing is really important. And with that, I'm gonna end, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Legislator. So our first presenter, we're going to change a few things around. We will have Raphael Jean-Francois, the lending manager from Community Development Corporation of Long Island. So you can get started when you're ready.
Good morning, everyone. And it's a pleasure for me to be on this panel, to be sharing some information about CDCLI's lending product. And my name is Raphael Jean-Francois. And as a lending manager at CDCLI, what we do is creating solutions for first-time home buyers who are in need of our assistance for down payment and closing costs. And also people that are Section 8 voucher recipients who are looking to buy their first home. Today, I will not be spending too much time on the down payment assistance side for me to be able to focus the presentation on the voucher homeownership program. But in 2 minutes, I will say what the down payment assistance program is all about. It's a program designed to help people to buy a house, put as much as little down, and be able to get financing to avoid PMI, any type of mortgage insurance. So we can lend you 19% if you put 1% down, or if you put 2% down, we can give you 18%, so forth. So our loan and your down payment can be 20% of the purchase price, and we can go up to $75,000. And our interest rates varies between 3 and 3.5, depending on the loan size. So, and the loans are given for 30 years with no prepayment penalties. And you can use it for down payment, closing costs, or a combination of the two. In a nutshell, that's what the down payment assistance is all about. But CDCLI has a unique, very unique program, which called voucher home ownership. And not too many people know that a voucher recipient, Section 8 recipient person can use their voucher to buy a house. Yes, they can. And we have that program to help them out. Now, how does the program work? Anybody who is on voucher Section 8, who has income at 50% AMI or less, AMI standing for area median income. So this is the program for them. Now, what we do, we coupled our loan with the first mortgage from any other lenders on Long Island, because we only served Suffolk and Nassau counties. All our loan programs are specifically for Nassau counties and Suffolk counties. So now somebody who will be able to attend our program has to satisfy some of the requirements. First, they have to have completed our homebuyer education and our one-on-one coaching, and they have to be in compliance with the voucher administrator. Now, the voucher recipient can come from any municipalities on Long Island who is administering a voucher program. And we at CDCLI, we do administer a program for New York State. We collaborate with the town of Kevan, the town of Babylon, Huntington, and the town of Hempstead. Wherever you have a program, if you don't have a modus of understanding with CDCLI, we can work with you to put something together. And so we can accept your voucher persons to participate in the program. Now, there is no real limit on the loan amount that a voucher person can get. But the first requirement as far as loans is concerned, you have to find a first mortgage lender who is willing and able to give you a loan that will represent 30% of your gross income as far as housing permit is concerned. So the first mortgage bank will calculate a loan amount where your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment will correspond to 30% of your gross income. Now, we have some flexibility where we can go up to 40% based on state guidelines. So I'm going to say now between 30 and 40%, that's what your first mortgage payment need to be. Now, once you have that, CDCLI will be able to use your voucher payment, your standard voucher payment, according to your size, your bedroom sizes, your household composition, income, and family members. and we will use the voucher to calculate a second mortgage for you that can cover the entire, your voucher payment can all of that can be used to make the payment, to calculate the sizes of the loan. So if you have a $1,900 payment, or if you have a $3,000 voucher payment, I can take all of that and calculate the mortgage payment. Now, the interest rate we're going to use to calculate your mortgage loan for you will be 3% flat. There will be no grading of the interest based on loan size. Regardless of the loan size you are getting from us, the interest will be 3%. And the time for you to pay back the loan is 15 years. Now, the second mortgage can be higher than the first mortgage. It can also be lower than the first mortgage. It's all going to depend on what the bank can give you. So in a nutshell, that's what that is. And as a voucher person, the homeowner will be able to keep the voucher for 15 more years. And after 15 years, their loan with us will be paid off, and then they will keep paying their first mortgage. But after 15 years, they can do whatever they want to do with the house, sell it, and keep the difference. So that's a program in a nutshell. If you have questions, I'll be able to answer some of them for you. And thank you for the invite. And I'm happy to answer any other questions after the fact. You can reach me at 631-471-1215, extension 193. 631-471-1215, extension 193. That's all for me, Gabby.
We do have a question. We have two questions. The first question is the loan for down payment a fixed or a variable interest for the 30 years?
All loans given by CDCLI are fixed interest rate.
Okay, I hope that answered your question, Mr. Clinton. Jocelyn, is there a website where we can find this information that Mr. Francois is speaking of?
Correct. The website is www.cdcli.org, and you will get this information under home financing.
Okay, we have one more question. Will we be provided with a document with the links of the contact? Yes, you will. Yes. We'll have a list of all of the speakers and all of their contacts after this is done. Any more questions? Okay, we do have another question. Any question? Okay. Can you buy down the interest?
No, we don't have buy downs. We don't have a discount rate. That will be for a first mortgage lender if you're buying a first mortgage, because our second mortgages, the rates are fixed, and there's no way for you to buy it down. That will be a closing cost that we do not have that option.
Where am I turning?
Yeah, you turn right up here on the hump. I call it the hump.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Can you mute yourself?
I didn't hear the question.
Yes. Okay. Do you have to have a credit score? Is there a minimum for credit score?
Good question. The credit score is 625. But if you are buying and then you are getting a loan from a lender where the lender has a minimum credit score that's lower than that, we'll be able to accommodate you and then get an exception for you. But as far as CDCLI is concerned, our minimum credit score is 625.
Okay. All righty. Thank you, Mr. Francois. I know that you have another meeting to join, so that no more questions.
All right. So thank you for having me. And anybody on the panel or people watching can always reach out to us for questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer anyone. Thank you.
Our next presenter will be representing Long Island Housing Partnership, Michelle Benedina. Please take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Almost good afternoon. And I want to thank the legislator for having us as a speaker today. The Long Island Housing, and one of the things that I always tell first-time home buyers is if you take anything away from a presentation, it's the importance of participating and right now the Long Island Housing Partnership is doing it via telephone, but really participate in a mortgage counseling session. The importance is that at that point, you will get your credit score, you will be introduced to various products that are available, and so and give you a point in time where you can see, am I going to be able to buy my home today? Do I have the correct down payment? Is my credit score there? Or am I 6 months away? Or do I need to do some repairs to get there? And so when we meet with first-time home buyers, they run the gamut. So if you take anything away from the presentation today, as a first-time home buyer, really do participate in a mortgage counseling session, and our services are totally free. And also when you go through that session, you will also see what programs are being offered from different financial institutions for down payment and closing cost assistance. And I know when Delphia presents, she'll talk about SONYMA and the various programs that they offer. Today, I wanted to talk about a few of our down payment assistance programs. There's the Community Stabilization Program, and in a nutshell, it's $30,000 in down payment assistance. It exists as a second mortgage against the home where you make no payments and there's nothing comes due. At the end of 10 years, that grant is totally forgiven. If you move, and in the United States, average homeowners stay in their home 7 to 10 years. So at the end of 10 years, that grant is totally forgiven. There are other down payment assistance programs that the Long Island Housing Partnership manages. And if you go on our website, www.lihp.org, and you look at down payment assistance, you will find a lot of the down payment programs. The Community Stabilization Program you would find under foreclosure grants, because the home needs to be vacant, foreclosed, or blighted in some way. And we are delighted to work with a lot of our different homeowners on that. There's also down payment assistance programs for Nassau County. Now, right now, that program is closed, but if you continually check our website once a week or every other week, you will find when the various programs are opened. And they usually run the same way. They're anywhere between 14,000 and a lot of them to about 25,000, depending on the municipality. But on those grants, a certain portion can be used for down payment and a certain portion for closing costs. And on Long Island, we're in a high cost area, so that is also a benefit on the closing cost end of it. We also have the Employer Assisted Housing Program, which started about 12 years ago. And it was for the employers make a contribution to their employees, either in closing costs or down payment assistance. And the program, when it first started, was because we're such a high cost area, how can we keep employees on Long Island? So this was a benefit for the employers to attract and keep new employees. That is also on our website under Employer Assisted Housing. And then we have a new program called the Community Land Trust Program. And that works for first-time home buyers in the fact that the homeowner owns the structure and leases the land for 99 years. Now, what that does for a first-time home buyer is make that home more affordable, because the mortgage is based on the subsidized sales price. And as I said, we are delighted to work with many of our home buyers, and we welcome each and every one of our first-time home buyers really to participate in the counseling session, and really take a good look at our website, where we have a lot of our programs up there. And the last thing I'd like to say is on the Community Land Trust Program, which has a lot of different nuances to it, to really watch the 17-minute video that we have on our website that really helps, first-time home buyers. So I'd be delighted to answer any questions, Gabby, if we have any.
If anybody has any questions, please ask in the chat box now.
Michelle, this is Robin from Legislator Abraham's office.
Hi.
I know that you guys do more than Nassau County.
We do Nassau.
So what are the specific projects that you have available for Nassau County? I know you guys usually have like some townhouses or, different housing complexes like that. Do you have anything available now? If they want?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we do. One of the things that we offer is technical assistance to different builders who are building across Long Island. So we have many programs that are running in Nassau County at this time. And Gabby, what I'll do is I'll send you the list, and they're all listed on our website under technical assistance. And again, many of those programs, if not all of them, are open to first-time home buyers. And what we do is we walk the homeowner through the process. So I'll make sure that you get that list over to you today, Gabby, so you can put it up. But you're correct. We have many, many programs running in Nassau County. And that's what really makes the homeowners, home ownership more affordable for first-time home buyers in Nassau County.
We have a question. What's more beneficial, foreclosed home that's a fixer-upper or a new constructed home?
It depends on the homeowner. Now, if you're somebody like me that always tries to put things together and has leftover parts, a fixer-upper would not be good for me. But there are many homeowners that participate in the Community Land Trust Program, the Community Stabilization Program, excuse me, because they want to get a home, get the $30,000, and the money that they've been saving themselves for down payment, they use to rehabilitate the homes. And many of these homes are across Nassau County, and really one of the benefits to that program, in addition to providing home ownership for the homeowner, is that may be the only home on the block that needs to be rehabilitated. So it uplifts all of the homes in that particular community. I think it's really based on what the homeowner wants. Some homeowners want, under the Community Land Trust Program, those homes for the most part are brand new. So, you're not going to worry about the roof or anything like that,
Can the stabilization grant program be combined with CDCLI's loan options?
We have worked with CDCLI and Community Housing Innovation. I see Julie's here, and a lot of our programs, we all work together.
Okay. If you live outside of Nassau County or Suffolk, but you buy a house within those counties, does this program still apply?
Yeah, in other words, as long as the structure is either in Nassau County or Suffolk County, yes, absolutely. I mean, we have people from around the country that relocate to Long Island and they participate.
Can the area income, they see that the land trust has an income guidelines. Can the area income be found somewhere on your website?
Yes, it is on, it's actually in the application that's on our website. It's 80% of the area median income is for that program. Under the community stabilization program, it goes up to 130% of the area median income. So it depends on the program. For the most part, the down payment assistance programs that are run by the counties or the municipalities, they go to 80%. It's trying to make affordability for first-time home buyers.
Okay. Last question. How can you sell a house eventually if you don't own the land?
If under the, and again, it is all outlined. I don't want to take, too much time going through it, but what we have is then, let's say you've lived in the house for 10 years and you have a 99-year ground lease and you've got a 30-year mortgage. And so we look at the community, you look at the consumer price index to see how much the house has gone up in value. So the person selling would get a portion of that. And then we have a list of people that want to and are next that want to purchase in the community land trust program so that the selling homeowner wouldn't have to pay real estate, if you will, a realtor.
Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate it. So any questions that we have left, just keep them coming and we'll save it for the end.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was very informative. Our next speaker is going to be representing the Village of Hempstead. We have Commissioner Charlene Thompson.
It's still good morning, everyone. Again, yes, so I'm Commissioner Charlene Thompson. I'm here in the Village of Hempstead, which is different from the town of Hempstead. So it's a small community, smaller, I shouldn't say small because we're still about 56,000 people, but we're within the town of Hempstead, similar to Freeport, Rockville Center. We are the Village of Hempstead. So one of the things that the Village of Hempstead has been able to do over the last year or so is we get an annual allocation of funding through Nassau County from HUD. And we decided to put a dedicated amount aside for homeowners who were interested in purchasing a home in the Village of Hempstead to offer up to $25,000 in down payment assistance. And so we modeled our program exactly after the program that's offered by Nassau County that's administered through the Long Island Housing Partnership. So let me see if am I able to share my screen? Yes, so I just want to take a moment to share my screen. And we have actually can you all see that? So it's actually this is on our website at the www.villageofhempsteadcda.org. If you go up to our website, you'll see on the opening screen, you'll see, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a flyer on our down payment assistance program. And so you have to be a first-time home buyer, but under HUD's regulations, a first-time home buyer is an individual who has not had their name on a deed or a mortgage or a note for the last 3 years. So say you had owned a home before, for whatever reason, you haven't been able to own a home for the last 3 years, but you want to go back out and purchase a home in Hempstead again. So you would qualify as a first-time home buyer. And one of the wonderful things about this funding, this comes through a program we call the Community Development Block Grant Program. And so we have this money here. Other programs may have other sources of funding. So this $25,000 may be able to be leveraged with LIHP's programs, CDCLI's program, SONYMA. So the wonderful thing is, if you do your homework and the legwork, and if you go through the housing counseling program, as was mentioned through CDCLI or LIHP or other housing counseling, HUD recognized housing counseling programs, they will lay out all of the different kinds of programs that you may be able to leverage and layer to maximize what opportunities are available for you to get assistance in purchasing your home. So you have to be at least what we call 80%. You had to have an income level, household income level of at or below 80% of the area median income. And to give you an example, it's a sliding scale based upon the number of members in your household. And this is adjusted every year around this time, June, July. HUD comes out with new numbers. And so, but for comparative sake, so the area median income for Nassau County for a family of 4 is about $124,000. So 80% of that, a household of 4 earning 80% or less of that would be able to qualify. There is a minimal amount of income you have to earn to qualify for the program, and that's a household income of at least $30,000. And you have to bring a minimum of $5,000 to the table. So as Michelle mentioned with the other programs she works on, the $25,000 can be used to supplement your down payment. It can be used to buy down your interest rate or points on your loan. It could also be used for closing costs. And a requirement of qualifying for this is going to a HUD recognized housing counseling agency and getting a certificate to bring and show that you've taken the necessary steps to get ready for home ownership. One thing you should know, our application deadline is quickly coming about. Actually next week, May 24th, we're receiving applications up until May 24th. Our application can be downloaded from our website, but you also can come to our offices, which are at 50 Clinton Street, Suite 504 in the Village of Hempstead, to pick up a hard copy. We also have a counselor available just to answer questions, staff available to answer questions about how do you answer any questions that come up in the application, or we have a list of HUD recognized housing counseling agencies that you can reach out to. And the wonderful thing about it is we're promoting home ownership in the Village of Hempstead. So the limitation is you can come from anywhere. You can come from another state. You can come from the city. We get people, you can be a village resident. You can be a village employee. The qualifying factor is that you have to buy a home in the Village of Hempstead. And so that's all the general information I have now. Just note that this round closes on May 24th. You have to have your application in by May 24th, and you will be considered for eligibility to make sure that you meet the other program requirements. So I don't have anything else to share in this moment, but if you have any questions, I'm open.
All right, I will take 3 questions. Do you work with they're coming in, okay. Do you work with NACA program when it starts back again?
Absolutely, we have worked with them in the past.
Okay, can you please say the address and the suite again to pick up an application?
I'll actually write it in the check box and I'll say it too. 50 Clinton Street, Suite 504. 4 in Hempstead, okay?
Okay.
And we're here between 9 and 4:45.
Okay.
And we can also mail it out to you.
Okay.
So if you'd like us to mail it to you, we can do that too.
Awesome.
But it's a quick turnaround, so you might want to come pick it up or download it.
Okay.
So Charlene, we're
Yes.
encouraging young people to purchase their own, and be it a house, co-op, or whatever it may be, condo.
Yes.
And some of them, I mean, even if it's a smaller family of 1 or 2, and if someone's on Section 8, they can bring that program to you guys too, and they still would qualify for the additional funds.
Absolutely. So the program, the voucher home ownership program that CDC was sharing, we could absolutely work with them to give them assistance to help qualify. It could buy, like again, you can have a larger down payment. This can be some of the monies that are leveraged to get below that that 20% threshold to get rid of your PMI, your private mortgage insurance. It could also be used to buy down your insurance rate. As you all may or may not know, the largest portion in the early years of your loan is you're making the interest payments. And so if you could buy down your interest from a 3% interest rate on your primary mortgage to a 1.5% interest rate, then that monthly payment that you'll have to make will be significantly different, because this is interest spread out over 30 years. And so you can use that down payment assistance to help buy down those interest rates as well.
And so the village of Hempstead, I think that some people are confused with the town of Hempstead and the village of Hempstead. So yours is just within the village itself.
Yes, it's only within the
township.
village. So the town of Hempstead is over 700,000 people. You have Uniondale, Baldwin, Freeport, Elmont, all that's within the town of Hempstead. Within the town of Hempstead, we have the village of Hempstead, which is about 56, according to the census, about 56,000 people within the town. And so this program is specifically for the incorporated village of Hempstead, but it can be 1151, 11550, 11551, 11552, 11549.
Really?
So,
all of those zip codes would be considered part of the village of Hempstead?
yes, so someone asked about South Hempstead. So
right.
According to the program parameters, that would qualify.
And 11552 is part of West Hempstead.
Okay. So I should have said, so depending on where it's located, absolutely.
So the Lakeview portion of Hempstead would be considered? If someone
it depends on where it falls. Okay,
all right. That's interesting to know, because I didn't realize you could actually go outside the 4 walls in a sense of the village of Hempstead. So that's great to know.
So some of the designations are mostly postal designations rather than incorporated designations. And we would look at that at a case-by-case basis. So for example, South Hempstead definitely falls within those parameters.
They have your same. Okay, excellent. And what number can someone contact you again?
So our main office number is 516-485-5737.
Thank you. We really appreciate it, Commissioner. So we will move on to our next presenter. We have Rosemary Olson representing the town of North Hempstead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rosemary Olson. I'm the Executive Director of the Community Development Agency of the town of North Hempstead. The town of North Hempstead has a whole host of housing programs, but I've been asked today to talk about residential rehabilitation. We do offer a residential rehabilitation program, which is also funded by the Community Development Block Grant Program that Charlene was talking about. And we offer both loans and grants. We will offer a grant up to $10,000, and that's focused more on emergency repairs. We have an emergency repair program, and we also provide loans up to $25,000 for improvements to homes. Now, for the senior program, it's forgiven upon transfer of the house. It has to be, no, at the time, the grant is forgiven, but the loan is paid back at the time that the house is transferred. For younger people, we will offer a loan, and that loan will be paid back over time, and we can negotiate a loan arrangement. We have staff that help and assist the homeowners in identifying and bidding contractors to do the repairs on the homes. So this is a good program to know about. It's actually offered here in the town of North Hempstead in the unincorporated areas, but there are residential rehabilitation programs that are also offered through Nassau County. And that also includes the Village of Hempstead, the Village of Freeport, and other villages. The towns of north of Hempstead and the town of Oyster Bay also offer residential rehab programs, and those programs are offered for seniors. And even though this is geared towards young people, a lot of the referrals we get are from young people because they're trying to help out their parents or their grandparents, you know, in terms of their housing. One of the things that I'd like to say about that is young people should also consider the opportunity to purchase a house from a family member. This is often not talked about, but a lot of families live in the communities that they grow up in, and they could work with all of these organizations in terms of acquiring a house possibly from a grandparent. It's not discussed often, but it's really a wonderful opportunity because the housing market is very difficult. We also offer a special program that's funded by the state to replace lead service lines. And the lead service line program is for residents of the town of North Hempstead, and it includes all the villages. And we are really targeting that program towards households with small children. So if you live in the town of North Hempstead, you might be eligible for the lead service line program. All of this information is on our website. We're under the www.northhempsteadny.gov under community development. Some of the other housing programs that we offer are we actually acquire and develop housing that goes for sale for first-time home buyers. And we do work with the various organizations that are presenting today, including the Long Island Housing Partnership. We don't have anything available now, but just check back with us or check back with the Long Island Housing Partnership or CDC of Long Island or Community Housing Innovations to see if there are any opportunities in the town of North Hempstead, because we actively acquire blighted properties, foreclosed properties, and develop generally new or completely rehabilitated houses for first-time home buyers. We also provide additional down payment assistance to make the house affordable because homes are very expensive here on Long Island. So the first steps that I would say, if you're interested in buying a house, is to work with one of the housing counseling agencies. Work with either Long Island Housing Partnership, Community Development Corporation of Long Island, or Community Housing Innovations. They're HUD certified counseling agencies, and they can start you on the path towards buying your house. We found that many of the homeowners that wound up buying houses were prepared, and they were prepared because they worked with these housing counseling agencies. So those are that's really your first step in terms of buying a house. Are there any questions?
Please ask in the chat box if you guys have any questions.
So Rosemary, you said you had other housing programs as well besides the rehab programs within the town of North Hempstead?
Yeah, so we actually actively develop housing, for sale housing for first-time home buyers. We don't have anything now. It probably won't be anything ready for the next couple of years. But we've over the past maybe 10 years, we've developed about 50 homes, working either with developers or we've actually hired contractors to build these homes. The last group of housing, we worked with Long Island Housing Partnership on offering them to first-time home buyers, and we sold the last house last year. So we work off a lottery system. So I recommend that anyone interested in buying homes, they start now with housing counseling so they're prepared. Because we really work hard to make them affordable for our homeowners. Most of the housing is in Newcastle, but we look to try to do it anywhere in the town of North Hempstead. And people don't have to live in North Hempstead to apply for our Affordable Homes Program.
Can the home rehabilitation program be used with the community stabilization program from Long Island Housing Partnership?
Possibly. The answer would be to apply to us, and we can see if the household is eligible and if the project is eligible.
Okay. Do you provide any assistance for those that are renting and would like to buy the home from their landlords?
We encourage that. Again, the way to do that would be to work with one of the housing counseling agencies, or to approach us, and we'll make a referral to a housing counseling agency to make that happen, because that's another way of acquiring a home. Sometimes landlords are interested in selling to tenants if they're especially if they're older and they're not in the rental business or they're getting out of the rental business, because you don't have to involve a real estate broker then. So it's something that is worth doing. So someone who's renting should really consider talking to their landlord. And again, starting with one of these agencies, depending upon if they're Section 8, they may want to talk to CDC of Long Island and get started with them, especially if they have the voucher, that might work. Or go to CHI. They do a lot of work, especially with houses that need work. Or go to Long Island Housing Partnership. These are all great partners that we've worked with over the years in terms of making home ownership available for people throughout Nassau County.
Thank you. Okay, so any additional questions, please ask in the chat box and we will save it to the end. We will move on to the next presenter. We have Julie Stern, Director of Home Ownership Center for Community Housing Initiatives, or CHI. Please take it away.
Thanks, everybody. Very much thanks to everyone who organized this, including Legislator Abrams, and of course, thanks to my other presenters. I'm going to share my screen now. Hope that works. And let's see. I'm going to go through some slides that I have, and let's hope I can get it here. Yep. So Community Housing Innovations, we've been active in Long Island and Westchester for about 25 years now, maybe 30 years. The grant assistance program since 1997. We've been doing it in Long Island. We actually have our size of our grant is between $25,000 and $30,000. We might be able to go over $30,000 these days, given where prices are going and rehab needs are going. But our agency also covers foreclosure eviction prevention. We are a HUD certified housing counselor, and we do homebuyer education and counseling, as the other agencies have touched on. And we also are pretty well known in Suffolk and Nassau for our shelter and temporary housing programs and supportive services for those in those predicaments. We have this program that I want to talk about today is really our premier homeownership grant program. And we have helped over 700 families here in Long Island. About half of those were in Long Island, and we do also offer this in Westchester. Those are our two service areas. We do pre-purchase education and counseling. We do the down payment assistance and closing cost assistance, as well as repairs and renovations. And that's kind of married together in our grant program. So a little bit about our education program. You can go on our website and find out more. You do it all online. I just want to touch on that. And to go back to the grant, we are funded by the state program that's called an acquisition rehab grant. We just got a new grant contract renewed for $1 million, available for Nassau and Suffolk only. And that grant assistance is for purchasers of single family homes, the co-ops and condos, but we don't do 2 to 4s. They must, of course, be located in the right areas, but they can be combined with a number of other grant programs, as people in the Village of Hempstead, Town of North Hempstead, and LIHP have touched on. We've worked with them on deals that have been combined with their grants. We do have a little bit different income limit than people have talked about. Ours is set at 90% of AMI is really where it is right now. And this is the current limits. They will be changing, of course, in June. This is when we usually get an adjustment. But as you can see, they're pretty much covering a very broad portion of the population here in Long Island. And Westchester's limit is much the same. It does go up based on family size. It does mean gross household income, and it's income based on everybody working in the household, not just those applying for the grant or applying for the loan. So the eligibility is calculated a little bit differently than a lender might calculate your income. Just wanted to point that out. Here's some of the key criteria. We do want to see that you have a pre-approval from a participating lender. We help facilitate that with our education and counseling. We must invest a minimum of 3% in the purchase price. And that's just our minimum. I gotta say that most buyers end up putting in more. It's very unusual that people put in just 3% because the cost of housing is getting higher and closing costs are also getting higher. Frankly, the biggest issue is that our funds are only available at the day of closing. So if you need to put down some funds at the time you go into contract, or you need to spring in for some money for a home inspection, that's going to come out of the buyer's pocket. And we do have a rule that liquid assets, which do not include your retirement or pension funds, but liquid savings, investments, they would not exceed 25% of that purchase price. And that is a key state rule. And of course, we don't want you to be in contract until we've taken a look at the property, make sure it's affordable, and we can help you purchase this or suggest other sources of grant revenue that you might find that can make that deal work. I don't want you to go into contract for something that isn't going to work. The most important reason we want you not to do that is because this grant includes a renovation component. 51% of the grant must be spent on renovation and repairs. You can go up to 100% if you want to. But typically our clients in Long Island are getting about $14,000 to $15,000 for renovation and repairs. To do that, we get a home inspection report and a rehab plan that we look at. Of course, there's some rules that we have about the type of repairs that we can cover, but frankly, most repairs can be covered as long as they extend the useful life of the home. So anything that would be health and safety, that's going to be a mandatory repair, but any other repairs such as replacing worn out tiles, fixing your stairways, pathways, driveways, patching the roof, all that stuff can also be covered. So you can look for a home that is gently used and you will still find $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 of repairs pretty easily, is our experience. But we cannot help with a new construction or something that's been totally gut rehabbed. It's very funny though, we saw some people who were buying from flippers, people who had bought something in foreclosure and then rehabbed them. And of course, there's always something that wasn't done, either left out or put a lick of paint over it, and we could go back and fix it up. We do hold those rehab funds until the work is completed, and that means we help you with that process. We help you find the right contractor. Our inspector goes in and oversees what the contractor is doing to make sure it's done right, and we don't pay the contractor until that work is done correctly. So it's a pretty, you can choose your contractor, you can help pick out some of the scope of work as long as there's no health and safety issues that are mandatory. We do approve that typically just before you go into contract or right after you go into contract, so everybody knows what that plan is going to look like. But you are, free to choose your contractor within the rules of the program. We do have a maximum purchase price, and we do have some housing ratio limits as far as affordability. We don't want you to spend more than 36% of your gross income per month on housing, which would be the principal and interest on the mortgage and taxes and insurance. And of course, when you go into our program, the process is there is an application posted on our website. But once you finish through that application and review process, you would be issued a grant certificate. And once you get that grant certificate is when you would be able to sign a contract. We would like to point out that you have to occupy this property for 10 years as a criteria for the grant. If you do have to move before 10 years, and that happens, people do need to move, whether it's their family grew or their circumstances changed or they got a great opportunity somewhere else, you would have to pay back a portion of that grant. After 5 years, it starts declining, and it declines fairly quickly after that. But the residency requirement is actually very important to us. We monitor it annually. So here's some of the grants that can be combined with that program that we've just been talking about. And one of the biggest ones we work with all the time is SONYMA. Their mortgage product includes this down payment assistance grant, which can be combined with our grant very, very easily. We've also worked with their neighborhood revitalization program, and that's an interesting one that I'm sure Dilfia will touch on. It has to do with buying a vacant property. So people who are interested in those fixer-uppers, we can combine our rehab numbers, our rehab amount with, I think it's $20,000 that SONYMA can offer for rehab. So it can become a very powerful tool for helping rehab a fixer-upper. It's not enough to do a ground-up rehab, but it can fix a lot of issues. And then we have there's a bank offered product called Homebuyer's Dream, and lenders also offer some of those other programs that they've tailored for their own program. Their own bank offers it. We'll tell you about those later. And then, of course, we've heard about a lot of the grants offered by local governments. I think at one time we've worked with every one of those counties and towns that have been mentioned on this presentation. So if they're offered by another nonprofit or a county or a town, we would talk about how we can work with them and layer that in. I think overall we've done a couple of deals in Long Island where there were 5 or 6 different sources of funding. And I totaled it up recently, and I think one guy got almost $80,000 and another one got about 60. So it can be, there's a lot of power in that leverage. So let me just spend 1 minute. I hope I'm not going on too long, but we do have these income guidelines that you saw earlier and some program guidelines, which I went over just now. They're all posted on our CHI website. It's www.communityhousing.org. And you can also register right on the website for a free webinar. And we have those twice a month, and they're always free. And because they're webinars nowadays, due to COVID, they're very, very easy to attend. 90 minutes in the evening from 6 o'clock. And that is the best way to get started on the home ownership journey, in my opinion. We can help you, tell you about other programs as we've done in this whole presentation today, but we also focus on how the grant works. We have a lender present. Sometimes we have SONYMA present, and we always have a realtor there to answer questions about this process. It's a very convoluted, complex process. And my feeling is anybody who's listening to this now or in replay, it's a great idea. I'm glad you guys are listening to this, and I encourage you to do more, especially with our free orientation webinar. It's a great way to get started. Okay. Once you go onwards and go through the application process, we have a team of counselors who will help with that. And the only real limitation is we do look to see that you have that pre-approval and that you do meet our minimum assets of 3% of your proposed purchase price. And we don't accept applications. The only time we don't is at the end of the year. We try to clean out our backlog at that point. So if you have any questions or concerns, I guess I can give over the screen now, and we can talk about those. And I do want to encourage everybody to go to our email if they want to ask personal or private questions or have additional add-on questions. We have a team of our counselors that are manning this email address, and somebody will answer your questions. intake@communityhousing.org. And let me also share our main phone number. Our counseling team is primarily located in Westchester. That's the CHI's headquarters in White Plains, New York. We're out in Long Island when we resume live events. We'll be out there a lot, and we are happy to meet with people. But during COVID, the webinars are sufficing, I guess. Intake@communityhousing.org for questions, or to call, it's 914-683-1010. And I'm going to stop the share.
So you said that you have to have a mortgage pre-approval before applying for the grant, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And we can get that.
Awesome. What part of Westchester do you cover?
We cover the entire county. We do things from Peekskill down to the Bronx border. And we do see a lot of people from New York City coming to us for Westchester, and a lot of people from Queens coming to us for Long Island. So we'll help everybody.
We have one person that is registered for your online orientation tomorrow at 6 p.m. However, they did not receive the link. So they would like to know what are the steps that they should take to make sure that they receive the link.
That's interesting. Please email intake@communityhousing, and we'll deal with that today. That does happen occasionally.
Intake@communityhousing, correct? .org.
Everybody makes that mistake. We are a nonprofit. So it's .org, confusing. We do offer, if in case that does not work out, we will offer them 3 times in June, because it's been very high volume since we announced the $1 million contract coming through. And I think we'll have 2 or 3. We have a Spanish speaking session coming up in early July. It'll be all in Spanish, and a couple more in July and one in early August. So we do have it regularly.
Okay, and for the person that asked for the phone number, please check the chat box. It's 914-683-1010.
Yeah, and I see a question about whether you have to take the orientation again. Yeah, we recommend that you take it again if you're going to apply for the grant and it's been 6 months, because it's really good to have that refresher. And of course, being that it's free, really is pretty easy.
All righty. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
I was taking my notes. Okay.
There is a great brochure flyer on the website you can download. Program guidelines.
Thank you. All right, so we will move on to another presenter from Community Development Corporation of Long Island. We have the VP of the Home Ownership Center, Trisha Gliaton.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share, if that's okay, my screen. Are you seeing my screen? Yes, okay. So thank you certainly for having us. Thank you for providing this workshop, and thank you to all of my co-presenters. You know, I share in the sentiment that this is helpful information, that this is a great place to start. So I, along with my colleague who was present earlier, work with CDC of Long Island. We have been serving the community for just about 50 years, and we are what you've heard mentioned a few times, a HUD-approved housing counseling agency on Long Island. We are also recognized by NeighborWorks as an exemplary organization, and we are the only chartered member of NeighborWorks America on Long Island. The reason why the HUD approval is important to mention, as I and my co-presenters have talked about, is when you're looking to get this type of information, and ultimately we'll be sharing personal information and learning to navigate homeownership, it's important to know that you're working with a HUD approved agency. And what that means is that the organization has gone through HUD approval designation, and our counselors have also been certified through passing a certification exam that has now become part of the process. So it's just important to know. So whether you or somebody you know, even outside of your local area, if you have friends and families out of state and they want to get started, just encourage them to find a HUD approved agency in their area, and certainly also possibly a NeighborWorks organization. I'm not going to read it, but you'll see our mission and our vision. Basically, we believe that home matters for all people, and our goal is to really help move the economic aspirations for families on Long Island as they move towards building sustainable communities. There's a number of programs that we have listed here. As many of us have mentioned today, our organization does a number of things on Long Island. The Homeownership Center, which is where I represent, I'm going to talk in a few slides about what we do, but our goal is really to help people as they are navigating the road to home ownership, do that in a sustainable way. So we're working to help people attain their first home purchase, but also do that in a sustainable way. We do that through pre-purchase education and counseling. We also have a financial literacy program, which I'll talk about. And as has also been mentioned, we also do some post-purchase programs that include mortgage default counseling, foreclosure prevention, certainly very important in this time that we've been in this past year and a half, recognizing that many people are struggling with the challenges that have come through this pandemic. So certainly, I know we're here for home purchase, but if you know anybody who might be concerned about paying a mortgage, we can provide some counseling and education and resources to help people navigate that. We also provide reverse mortgage counseling for anybody who's considering a reverse mortgage. We don't provide the loan, but we do provide the counseling that's required. And also in line with where we're at as a society, having hopefully coming, to the end or close to the end of this pandemic, but it's been a tough year for many people, and we recognize that on Long Island. So I also just want to mention that we are also working with a couple of municipalities to provide rental assistance payments. So for people who might have fallen behind on their rent and meet some income guidelines, all of that information we can provide in more detail. But anybody who is under what we call the area median income, it's based on household and family size, and are residing in Nassau County or the town of Babylon, they can work with us to potentially receive up to 3 months of past due rent payments. They have to have a demonstrated loss of income due to COVID. Some other things that we provide, our organization does rental housing assistance. We provide rental subsidies to low-income families, seniors, and disabled persons. Most people would know that or recognize that more easily as Section 8. We have a home improvement and optimization, which provides construction oversight for weatherization of single and multi-family homes, as well as accessibility improvements, home improvements, and safety repairs. Resident Services is a program within our organization that helps low-income and vulnerable families and populations build stable life and achieve sustainable tenancies. We have a residential lending component. So you already heard from Raphael, who is our lending manager, works very closely with the Homeownership Center together. Many people who do counseling will end up working with our lending arm for either down payment assistance grants or loans or otherwise. And then certainly real estate development is also something that you've heard some of our other presenters mention, but we as an organization are also looking to increase the affordable housing opportunities on Long Island. And we do that by including single and multifamily homes for rent and sale, working with private developers. So really what most people are here to hear about is home ownership, right? And healthy home ownership is what our goal is to try to help people achieve. You've heard that, we agree that it can, we work with people from all different stages of the process. Some people are coming in and they're kind of at the tail end. They've already, they've sort of solidified even a loan product. They might be coming to us because they need to complete the education and counseling. And then we have people who are really just starting to have an inkling of, could this be a possibility? So, people who come work with us run the gamut from, just considering to well on their way. And our counselors work with people regardless of what stage of the process that you're at. On average, it can take 6 to 24 months to get prepared. You want to do it in a prepared way. So it's really not too early to reach out. If you're thinking, hey, I might not want to do this to next year, it's great to be part of something like this because it's just good to get the information. I'm sure that from what you're hearing, there's lots of information out there, and navigating it and figuring out where to start can be complicated. So getting educated and prepared to understand the process is really key. And again, that's what you're doing today. So taking the first step is great. It does take time. It takes hard work. You want to do it in a sustainable way, but it can be done. And our team is, as with some of the other agencies, are here to just sort of help you move through the process. What we do, our role is not to steer anyone anywhere or to give anybody direction in terms of what they must do, but we're here to provide education, counseling, help somebody understand what getting started and navigating the process is all about, help somebody get mortgage ready, and then leverage resources. So as you've heard today, there's a lot of resources out there, and not everyone is right for not everything is right for everyone, but it's really getting acquainted with what's out there and knowing what may meet your needs. So we provide homebuyer education. We provide an 8-hour course, very comprehensive course. We work with financial institutions to help you establish funds for down payment and closing costs where they can be leveraged. You've heard about layering assistance, so when that's appropriate, that can be done. And again, you know, we're here to help you understand what lenders are looking for and how to get ready. The education we offer right now is virtual. We offer it in 2 ways. You can do it through our in-house course that, as with our other presenters have mentioned, in response to the pandemic, we've moved all of our services to being offered remotely at this time. Our counseling is offered by phone, and our education is offered in a virtual manner. Which used to be offered in our office. So we have 2 ways that you can do that. You can do that through a self-paced course with one of our nonprofit partners where you register for the course and you sort of take it at your leisure and on your schedule. Or we do offer our 8-hour course about once a month. And in those courses, we do bring in presenters. Buying a home includes a lot of different individuals that are part of the process, everything from your lender to your realtor to the home inspector to when do I hire an attorney? Do I need an inspection? What happens in an appraisal? And we actually bring industry partners in to help answer those questions and participate in our classes. And it is a curriculum. We're an adopter of national industry standards. So that's why we offer the comprehensive 8-hour course. And it does provide you with, after your 8-hour course, your individual counseling session, a certificate that you will need for many of the programs that you've heard today. We try to help you understand what is a lender going to look for. You know, most people come in really focused on credit. You've heard that credit scores can, you know, maybe be as low as 625. Knowing what your credit score is and where it may fall in terms of what loan you're looking for. So credit is definitely a factor, but you know, sometimes people have really good credit and they're thinking I'm great, but it's also debt. So knowing how much debt you're carrying and how that's going to impact your affordability is something that a counselor goes over. Determining how much assets you need and what you have available, that includes your savings. And as we've heard today, also maybe include being able to leverage some down payment assistance and closing costs. And then income, knowing how your income is going to play into not just, you know, can you get a mortgage, but certainly how much of a mortgage. So in a counseling session, what a counselor will do is help you make the assessment of where you fit right now or what each one of these sort of factors are presenting in terms of your scenario. And then based on your time frame or what you're looking to do, help you determine, you know, if any one of those things might need to move a little bit, or if you're in great shape, or maybe you're in good shape, but you want to move something even further. So a counselor is here to sort of help you provide the resources to do that. We will review a credit report with you. It's a soft pull. We do it in an organization, but even before you come in, it's great to get started. I apologize, I live near a fire station. It's important to get a handle on your credit report yourself. So it's going to have a couple of different things on it. Certainly it has your personal information, it has your credit account history. It's got inquiries on there, how often you've been applying for credit, any bankruptcies or collection accounts. So before you even start, we suggest that you go to myannualcreditreport.com, get a free copy just to even make sure things are right and correct. So that is like sort of homework you can start doing as you're starting to think about it, just starting to see, is there anything on a credit report that needs to be resolved? Because your lender is definitely going to look at it. And again, in counseling, we review that with you to help you determine, you know, what might be great things on there or what might be causing some challenges. Certainly starting to build and fix credit is great to get prepared for home ownership. Creditors are generally looking for a history, 2-year history. They're looking for a few open trade lines on your credit report. And like I said, looking at it to see if there's something on there that's incorrect that needs to be addressed, or if things that, you know, are correct but just need to be moved, and they can be addressed. Knowing that foreclosures and repossessions and certain things will stay on your credit report for up to 10 years. And it does not mean that you cannot buy a home if those things are happened. It's just knowing sort of what your scenario is at the moment. Also knowing that if you have non-traditional credit and you have not had a history of credit, how that may or may not impact you. You know, many things can happen to impact our lives. Life happens every day. So somebody who maybe never has taken out a loan or hasn't built a credit history or is just graduating college and getting started. So, you know, some lenders have other ways of reviewing you for eligibility and credit. Again, it's just important to know sort of where you're at. So these 4 factors we've talked about: debt, assets, income. Debt, you know, is how much money do you owe? Most of us owe someone something. Knowing what assets you have, your savings, your stocks and bonds. Some lenders will accept gifts. You know, we're certainly not requesting or suggesting that people use retirement, but just knowing what you have available and overall your financial health. Knowing if you've been in your job for 2 years and how that's going to be impacting you. Knowing that you have enough income to sustain a mortgage. The key word is sustain. You know, lenders approve on gross monthly income. But one of the things that happens in a counseling session is to also work with you from a budget perspective to know what that mortgage payment will look like when you actually have to start paying that mortgage on a monthly basis and from a net income perspective. So the decisions and choices are yours, but maybe a lender has approved you for $450,000, but you decide as an individual, am I comfortable at the top of my budget, or maybe I want to be somewhere less? Those are all things that you as an individual homeowner will decide. We're just here to help you see on paper sort of where you're panning out and then make your educated decision. Financial fitness, learning how to reduce your debt, builds up your credit score, increase your savings is something that we offer through a course that I'll talk about in a little bit. But getting ready to reach your goal, really knowledge of the home buying process is key. I can't stress that enough. How often we hear people say, I wish I had known before I bought my home. I wish I knew that you were here. People come in and the word that's often used to describe the home buying process is just, it's complicated. And where do I start? Do I start just picking homes and going to a realtor, or do I need to start with my lender? What do I do? Is it important to have an inspection? So those are things that we try to help you understand. Increasing your credit score, you know, certainly there are programs out there. You do not have to have a perfect credit score, but also just knowing what is impacting a credit score one way or the other. If it's really good, it's important to know why, so that you can maintain that. And if it's, you know, not where you want it to be, also knowing what's impacting that so that you can potentially move that forward. And also knowing how that credit score might impact the type of loan that you get, the interest rate you get, whether or not, you know, you are able to, you know, have the purchasing power that you hope. And then really having a strategy to start saving for down payment and closing costs. Again, a lot of times people think that's a monumental task. You know, they're afraid that they're going to have to always have 20%, and, you know, that'll take me years. There are strategies for saving. Sometimes people find that they're saving much quicker than they thought. But as you've also heard, that part of what we do in counseling is also help you close those gaps. So there are many different places that you can obtain additional assistance to close those gaps, many of what you've heard today, but also many lenders have their own programs to help first-time home buyers. And as you've heard, some of those can be leveraged. So those are things that an individual wouldn't know unless they do a counseling session, because most of those programs are based on where you're purchasing, what your income is, what your credit score. So that profile is sort of put together in your counseling session, and that's something that you and a counselor would talk about. These are the programs we offer in the Home Ownership Center. Certainly our first-time home buyer education I already talked about. Financial fitness, health, and wealth is a resource. So if somebody's coming in and they're thinking they want to buy and then they're struggling to get a pre-approval, or they're finding that they're just not getting approved for what they want, they're struggling to build up a savings, or they want the credit needle to move a little bit further, we would not say that you cannot buy a home. We would just have you start here first as a resource. And many people start here at our financial fitness workshops. We also do that in the same manner in terms of we provide an 8-hour comprehensive education course. And then you work one-to-one with a financial coach, housing educator, on those self-defined goals. And some people do that for a short period of time. Some people do that for a year or more. But, you know, with those combined efforts, many people do find that they move from working there to starting the homebuyer education and counseling. So it can be done. We wouldn't turn someone away if they come in and they, really just can't get a pre-approval. There's resources to help make those decisions. The decisions are ultimately yours. You've already heard from our lending team, but we have down payment assistance grants when funding is available, closing cost assistance, as well as some loans and loan products for existing homeowners. Right now, it is not operating, but we do have a home maintenance training program generally, which is a hands-on home repair course taught by a licensed contractor in our building, which is a great place for renters or first-time home buyers or new homeowners to learn what things that they can repair themselves or how to have those conversations when they hire licensed contractors, so they have a little bit of knowledge. I already mentioned our foreclosure prevention. Again, I just want to highlight that in the current environment, many people we know have fallen behind on their mortgage payments. They might have taken a forbearance and are not sure what to do when that forbearance ends. Not too soon to start having that conversation. And as I mentioned, we do provide reverse mortgage counseling. So this is just to highlight, again, our financial fitness. We really try to help people get the skills themselves to navigate creating a strategy for budgeting, building up a savings, addressing credit blemishes and issues. Like I said, you have the opportunity to work long or short term with a financial coach. But I believe that when you know what's impacting a credit score, it's not about judgment. Like I said, it might be a really good credit score, but knowing why is it really good will help you take those educated steps to sort of maintain it or to overcome challenges if they happen, because life does happen really to all of us. Again, you've taken your first step. We would love to work with you. If anybody decides they want to work with our organization, we're here to support. We work with Nassau and Suffolk counties. That's our phone number. To make it easy, the extension for the Homeownership Center is 158. So whether somebody's looking for mortgage default counseling, home purchase counseling, financial fitness, they would start with the 158. And whether it's Nassau or Suffolk, we do everything through that number. Our website is posted there. And again, also, if someone is concerned about having missed rent payments because they lost work or income through COVID, they can also visit our website, call that number, and we can get them to the team that's working on rental assistance. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. And if we end up working together with any of those listening, we look forward to doing so. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you. We do have a few questions. Can these grants be combined, or the services and resources be combined with CHI and Long Island Housing Partnership?
So many of our organizations do work together, like you've heard. It depends on what it is you're looking for. So as far as the counseling and education, somebody who's already engaged in just education and counseling, it's really duplicative. They may not need to do the counseling and education again with another organization. But if somebody is doing counseling and education, but wants to work with LIHP, or they're working with LIHP for a grant, but they're working with us. So we do many times work together with all of the presenters that you have here. But as far as participating in the education and counseling, you may not be getting anything different if you're already doing counseling with someone else.
Okay, since you're already speaking about credit, what are some of the resources that people can look into if they're trying to fix their credit? Perhaps the fitness program?
Yeah, so the financial fitness, health and wealth, like I said, it's an education program and then a one-to-one relationship to help somebody. We actually in the session, we do a credit pull. It's a soft pull, but we have somebody actually go through their credit report, understand what's on it, help them understand or notice if there's errors, how they might want to address those, and then really come up with a strategy for improving the credit if that's the goal. So, first, it's defining what is impacting my credit. Is it because I have a lot of debt? Is it missed payments? Is it judgments? Is it just a high utilization? So once somebody can define what is impacting the credit score, then they would work one-to-one with the coach to help them create strategies for budgeting and savings. It might be resources to other organizations. There's apps out there. There's techniques to help people save. So it really depends on what it is they're looking to address, whether it's savings or paying down some debt, things like that.
Is this program only offered in Long Island, or can people all across New York State use these programs?
So our financial fitness, health and wealth, we work with people in Nassau and Suffolk County. But if somebody does know someone who's in another state that's looking for similar programs and resources, it would certainly be great to navigate HUD's website and look for a HUD-approved agency or NeighborWorks America. NeighborWorks is a national nonprofit organization that there are many NeighborWorks organizations throughout the nation.
Yep.
So I have a, oh, sorry, go ahead, Gabby.
Do you need to live in Long Island for reverse mortgage counseling?
To do it with our organization, yes. But again, there's other organizations that do reverse mortgage counseling, and we don't do the loan, but HUD requires the counseling so that people know when they're making the decision that it's right for them, they've been through the counseling. So that's what we provide.
Thank you. Robin, you could take it away.
Right, no, just a question. We're talking about first-time home ownership. What is everyone's definition of a home? Because many people may think that it's a standalone house. Do you do co-ops? Do you do trailers? Do you do condos? Do you do townhouses? What does it include?
So thank you, that's a good question. So again, the choice of the property is certainly up to the homeowner. We provide the counseling, so sometimes that does come out in the counseling session. From a budget perspective, somebody might come in thinking they want a single family home, but they may decide that their affordability is presenting in a way that based on where they want to be, they may choose to go for a co-op, or they may choose to, based on lifestyle, they may decide that they want to buy a townhouse. So again, the decision is theirs. The other thing that we're here to point out is, or help somebody navigate, is what resources. So what loan product they choose might also be contingent upon what type of property, whether they're buying a fixer-upper, whether they're buying a single family home, or whether they decide that they want to move more towards a co-op or a townhouse. And also we do help them understand in terms of factoring in the affordability, because there's your PITI, your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. But many times if someone's going to buy certain homes, including co-ops and townhouses, they might also want to factor in HOA. So that's just important from a budget perspective also. So when someone makes that decision, they know that they might be also including an HOA fee in there. And, all of that will ultimately come into their housing affordability.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the time.
We really appreciate it. So our last speaker, last but not least, we have the Assistant VP Business Development Officer, Delphia Munez of SONYMA.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate and applaud all the first-time homebuyers who are attending this seminar. Just the fact that you're here today really shows that you're taking those first steps in achieving the dream of home ownership, right? Hopefully. And also, I'd like to thank Legislator Abrams and everyone else for actually inviting us and letting us be here today and to present. So without further ado, if you could start my presentation, Gabby. Okay, thank you. Sorry. So if you're looking to buy your first home, SONYMA provides down payment assistance, below market interest rate, home renovation financing, special veterans programs. So if you're a veteran, first and foremost, thank you for your service. And please make sure to find out about the Homes Veterans program that SONYMA has. All our programs are available for 1 to 4 family homes, including co-ops and condos, and manufactured homes permanently affixed to the real property. SONYMA was created in 1970, and SONYMA's mission is to provide safe, affordable, and sustainable home ownership opportunities to low to moderate income households in New York State, primarily to first-time homebuyers. And I know many of us have spoken about first-time homebuyers, and just like many of the organizations, for SONYMA, a first-time homebuyer is someone who has not had prior home ownership interest in their primary residence in the last 3 years. So maybe you owned something 5 years ago and you sold it. For our purposes, you're still a first-time home buyer. All of our programs are available through a network of participating lenders. So you can go on our website, which is www.sonyma.org, in order to be able to see who our participating lenders are. And there's about 67 of them at this time. So you probably ask yourself, why SONYMA, right? Well, SONYMA, has various programs, and I'm suffering from my allergies, so please excuse my voice. SONYMA provides various mortgage programs primarily targeted, again, for first-time home buyers in New York State, so throughout New York State. Next, please. So some of our available programs are our low interest rate program, which I assure you is named incorrectly because it's not our lowest interest rate. The Achieving the Dream program, Homes for Veterans program, Habitat for Humanity, Give Us Credit program, which I'll tell you a little bit more about as we go along. Remodel New York, which is our renovation program, as well as Neighborhood Revitalization program, which is our other renovation program, right? So if you buy a home that needs repairs, these are the two programs that would help you or facilitate you being able to purchase that home. So I'm on the what are the benefits slide. I think it's one after this. Thank you. So SONYMA mortgage programs have lower overall costs and payments compared to other traditional first-time homebuyer programs such as FHA, right? So SONYMA State of New York Mortgage Agency, FHA is a federal loan. It's not a bad loan, but again, it's our loan tends to be a little less expensive than the FHA program. We also offer flexible credit options. So we recently rolled out a program called One Back. I'm sorry, Gabby. So we recently rolled out a program called Give Us Credit. So Give Us Credit is a new SONYMA pilot program aimed to address racial disparities in mortgage lending and increase home ownership amongst households of minority households, as well as our brothers and sisters of color, right? In order to build wealth and to increase racial equity. So we find that some of when we compared apples to apples, there was no reasonable reason why households of color, minorities were being declined more than our white counterparts, right? There just was no reasonable explanation for it. So one of the barriers that we looked at was, of course, down payment, right? Because we know that most people can afford the mortgage because the barrier tends to be down payment. You're paying for what you pay for in rent, sometimes can even exceed what your mortgage payment can possibly be, right? But if you're paying that kind of rent, how do you come up with, how do you also save for a down payment? So that's one of the barriers. One of the other barriers that we find are credit. Now you've heard many different options when it comes to credit, and SONYMA doesn't have a minimum FICO score. However, with that being said, we do want to see that someone has at least 3 trade lines with a 12-month history. Now, under our Give Us Credit program, there's a little bit more flexibility. Perhaps you have no credit, but you can show us that you've paid rent on time for the last 12 months. So Give Us Credit program would actually help you open that door for you to be able to get a mortgage, right? Normally, for traditional lending, the bank wants to see that you've saved that money and that you've had that money in an account for at least 3 months, right? What they call sourcing. With the Give Us Credit program, we even allow for your down payment to be a loan from your relatives, right? Which is usually not something that a regular lending institution would allow. But under the Give Us Credit program, we do allow that. Perhaps you've had some blemishes on your credit. So again, this program is really designed to help open those doors to home ownership and to be able to build home equity and build wealth, right? So there's many times if you can't source that down payment, as I mentioned, most of the lenders won't count that down payment. Give Us Credit program is even, we even have something in the program that we allow what they call mattress money, right? That's money that you really don't put in a traditional bank, but you probably have at home, hopefully in a safe place. But we allow up to $5,000 of that money to come from what they called mattress money. We also know that many families live together and pool their monies together to be able to pay for utilities and for housing and so on. we, under the Give Us Credit program, would even allow for, again, what they call border income, right? So that's perhaps people who have lived with you, that can demonstrate that they've lived with you in the last 12 months, and we give a certain amount of credit to that income and add it to your income in order for your affordability to be greater. So again, the Give Us Credit program is an amazing program. It's a pilot program. It's available. When we first rolled it out, it was only available in certain communities, but now it's available throughout the state. And I do encourage you to definitely look at our website, again, SONYMA.org, or many of the nonprofits, many of the housing counseling agencies have partnered with us for this program to be able to give you information and to help you along the way with this program. So next, please. So some of the additional benefits of SONYMA is that one of the things, as I mentioned, the barrier happens to be, how do you come up with a down payment? So with SONYMA, you need less of your own monies for down payment. SONYMA offers a down payment assistance, which is available to anyone. If you're doing a SONYMA loan and you want it, you get it. You don't have to apply for it separately or qualify for it separately. We offer 3% of the purchase price that you can use for down payment or closing costs, or a combination of both, or even to fund a single premium mortgage insurance payment. You know, you've heard of mortgage insurance. If you're putting down less than 20%, you normally have mortgage insurance, right? Private mortgage insurance that you have to pay, that's tacked onto your mortgage. So you can even use our down payment assistance to pay that one time and eliminate having that additional monthly on your mortgage as part of your mortgage payment. So we offer, again, 3% of the purchase price up to $15,000. Normally, under most of our programs, the minimum that we give is $3,000. So let's say that you're purchasing a home that's $100,000. We're going to give $3,000. But if you're doing our Give Us Credit program, the minimum that we give is $7,500, and the maximum will always be $15,000, right? So it's 3% of the purchase price up to $15,000. Next, please. And so, you know, you've heard many, again, all our programs are, you can combine all of our programs or any down payment assistance program that may be available to you throughout any of these wonderful housing counseling agencies or any grant that may be available. And you've heard, like, for instance, Long Island Housing Partnership has the community stabilization program, right? So that's possibly a home that may be in need of repair. So SONYMA offers up to $20,000 in rehab assistance, right? For you to be able to renovate or rehab that property. Up to now, it has been for if you're purchasing a vacant home. As of June 11th, where you will be changing our guidelines, and it will be the property doesn't have to be vacant, and you can receive up to $20,000 under our neighborhood revitalization program to be able to renovate and fix up that property. And so you say to me, well, that's great, but some of these homes need a lot more than just $20,000 to be able to really make them our dream home or to be able to live in them, right? So we have another program called our Remodel New York program. And I'm sure that many of you have seen the HDTV where you take the worst looking home and make it into your dream home. Well, that's a possibility through our Remodel New York program. So that allows you to finance the repairs into the mortgage. Now, if you were to buy a home and then take out a different loan or a renovation loan just to do the repairs, your interest rate and what you pay are going to be a lot more than if you actually did the Remodel New York feature and added it to your mortgage. Now, our Remodel New York program is available with any of our other programs. And again, you can also combine the neighborhood revitalization program along with the Remodel New York program. So let's say you're doing LIHP's community stabilization program, you're buying a foreclosure, and that home needs a lot more than $20,000 to fix it up. You can do the NRP program combined with the Remodel New York program. 20 of it works like a grant where if you live in the home for 10 years, it's forgiven. You never have to repay those funds. And the other 40 would be put into the mortgage, right? All of our loans, I should tell you, if you're using our down payment assistance program, you do have to live in the home for 10 years. If you sell it before 10 years, there may be a portion that you have to return. If you live in the property 10 years, it's forgiven, you never have to repay it, right? So it works as a second mortgage, no payment, no interest, no monthly payment on it. So to give you an example, we had someone that we gave $12,500 to. They sold in 3 years and made a profit. So it's always based on whether or not you make a profit. They sold in 3 years and they ended up paying back SONYMA $2,500. So it's never meant to really stifle you or to choke you with any extra payment. It's what allowed you or gave you that affordability to be able to purchase your home in the first place. And so again, every time that you make a mortgage payment, 1/20th of it is forgiven. And as Michelle from LIHP mentioned, statistics show that most first-time home buyers stay in their home for about 9 years. So again, the down payment assistance is completely forgiven after 10 years. If you live in it for 10 years, it's a gift, you never have to repay it. Next, please. Thank you. So all of our down payment assistance programs, our programs are designed to work well with any down payment assistance program that may be out there. So CDC's program, CHI's program, we've worked very closely with both of them. Again, you can, what they call layering, right? So as I mentioned, how in today's market, in today's world, can you possibly pay the kind of rent that is required and save for a down payment? It's virtually impossible. But through grant programs, through the programs that are available in your community and through these amazing housing counseling agencies, that is a real possibility, right? It's no longer just a dream, but something that you can attain. So you can layer the grants. For instance, you can do SONYMA's down payment assistance program and CHI's program. You can do CHI's program where some of it goes for down payment and some of it goes for repairs. And you can still do our Remodel New York or our neighborhood revitalization program. You can do the first-time homebuyer dream program, which is available through some of the banks, which I believe right now it's up to $10,000 for down payment assistance. So again, the more you layer, the greater your affordability is, and the possibility of home ownership is really attainable. Next. So as I mentioned, with SONYMA, you need less of your own funds, right? So SONYMA normally requires 3% down, right? But if you're purchasing a single family, 2-family, or a condo, then our requirement is that only 1% of that has to be your own funds. If you're purchasing a co-op, a 3-family or 4-family, we require that 3% of the down payment funds be from your own funds. So all of our programs require, you can go next, thank you. All of our programs require that you have homebuyer education, right? That you do the first-time homebuyer counseling. And again, all these wonderful organizations that went before me do offer the homebuyer education, either virtually, online. And again, it is statistics also show us that those who go through homebuyer education are less likely to default, right? So, nonprofit agencies offer the homebuyer education, but they're also the experts at being able to locate any down payment assistance, any grants that may be available for or that you may qualify for. They're also the folks that really hold your hand and walk you through this process and help you to have a better understanding of what's expected, right? Because, you know, navigating what's out there, which lender does what, you know, what program is offered, you know, can be quite overwhelming. But the nonprofit agencies, the counseling agencies, they're really there to help you. They are the experts in this. For instance, if you start letting people run your credit, it's going to affect your score. It's going to drop your score by 3 points each. So you have to be mindful of that. When you go to a housing counseling agency, one of the first things they do is they run your credit. When they run your credit, it's strictly for counseling purposes. So it does not affect your score, right? So remember when we said it's about, our mission is to provide safe, affordable, and sustainable home ownership, right? So that's a safe way to do it. It's also the affordable way to do it, because again, they're looking at the big picture, your affordability, your budget, you know, how much buying potential you actually have, where you can get additional assistance from, and sustainable, because we want you to be able to, for everyone to know that dream or that dream of homeownership to become a reality. But we want you to be able to keep that home, to sustain that home, right? Don't want to have to give it back to the bank, don't want to have to lose it. So it's about doing it in a safe, affordable, and sustainable manner. Next, please. So how do you get started? You know, most of the time, again, it's through counseling or homeownership counseling. Also meet with a loan officer to be able to be pre-approved. You know, as CHI mentioned, one of the things they want to see is a pre-approval. And many realtors, I would say 99.9%, won't even take you out to see a home unless you've been pre-approved. So that's really where you get started. Again, our website is SONYMA.org. We have many, many programs. My information is here. My dream, my wish for all of you is that you get to have that amazing feeling of being able to have those keys to your home presented to you. There's no greater feeling. And don't worry if you can't do it today or in the next 6 months. The important thing is to try to get yourself set up so that, again, it's not just a dream, but it becomes a reality. So I thank you so much for your attention, and thank you for including us today.
Thank you, thank you. We have a few questions. Okay. The Give Us Credit program, where can we find the information?
So on our website,
Yes.
SONYMA.org, the Give Us Credit program is there. You can see all of our programs, and you can see all the details as well. Also, many of the housing counseling agencies in today's presentations also have the information on the Give Us Credit program. And I should mention one other thing that I forgot to mention, because we recently rolled this out, and it's a DPAL Plus. It's a Down Payment Assistance Plus program. If the property, it's available. So all of our programs have income limits and purchase price limits. And again, they're available on our website. The DPAL Plus program is for anyone who's 60% of the area median income and below, and you can see that on our website. And the property can't be more than $175,000, but we offer up to $30,000 in down payment assistance to be able to eliminate mortgage insurance and to make that home more affordable for you. So that information is on our website as well.
Are there any resources that you have with a lender, or are you a direct lender? They want to get started today. That's what they're saying.
That's great. So we're not a direct lender. You can't come directly to SONYMA to apply. But as I mentioned, our SONYMA loans are available through a network of participating lenders. They're on our website as well. There's about 67, and I can tell you a lot of the major banks, Citibank, M&T, Freedom Mortgage, People's United, too many to announce. But again, on our website, you're able to see everybody who actually does SONYMA loans.
Is SONYMA available in Orange County?
Yes, so anywhere in New York State.
Wow, this is really, really exciting and interesting. Just quickly, can anyone explain the difference between a conventional and an FHA loan, so that people know what type they may want to go for when purchasing their home?
Sure, I can tackle that. So SONYMA is a conventional loan. It is. And an FHA mortgage is a federal housing authority. It's also considered a conventional mortgage for all intents and purposes, right? So if you're looking at So for instance, our minimum down payment is 3%, SONYMA's is, but only 1% of that needs to be yours, right? Depending on the property. FHA requires a 3.5% down payment. SONYMA is a conventional mortgage, but yet we allow the layering of grants. So we don't have what they call a CLTV. There's no restriction on how many loans or how many grants you can layer. FHA does have a restriction on that, right? Their max is 97%. So again, those are the differences. I don't know if somebody else might want to touch upon that, like maybe Trisha or somebody, if you have a different answer.
No, I mean, I think for the most part you hit it. You covered, most of it. I think what's important to know is that those are the things that we would discuss in counseling, depending upon what your needs are, how much down payment you have available. There's different features to a conventional versus an FHA product, and different ones will work for different people depending upon their timeframes for buying, how much funds they have available, what their credit score is, and a couple other factors. So a lot of that is the discussion in counseling to find out what your needs are and what each loan presents, and what might be the best one for you.
Excellent, excellent.
Is there an interest rate for SONYMA, and do they offer a buy down?
So SONYMA's rate is the same across the board, regardless of whether you have a 580 score or 800 score, right? So our Achieving the Dream program is 2.75, and our rates usually change on a weekly basis, not on a daily basis. So it's currently 2.75. If you take our down payment assistance, it normally bumps up the rate by 0.3%, so it bumps it up to 3.125. If you're doing our low interest rate program, and our low interest rate program allows for higher income limits, the rate is 3.125. And if you're taking our down payment assistance, it bumps it up to 3.5. Now, if you're doing our DPAL Plus program, that's the one where you're 60% of the area median income, there's no bump up in the rate. If you're doing our Homes for Veterans program, there is no bump up in the rate either. So it's 2.75. And even with the down payment assistance, it's still 2.75. I should mention with the Homes for Veterans, it's not only for the veteran, but it's also for the veteran and their family members, as long as the veteran is going to be living in that property and on title.
Gabby, one of the things that's the one thread that has been going through each and every one of our speakers today is the importance of mortgage counseling. And as a first-time home buyer coming to one of our agencies and talking about buying your first home, because we'll go through a lot of what's been discussed here, what programs are available, what down payment assistance programs are available, and how you can achieve the American dream of home ownership, whether it's immediate, 3 to 6 months down the road, or maybe a few years down the road. I mean, we just had a client who had been working with us for 2.5 years and has now achieved the dream of home ownership. So, that's why our services are totally free. And that's really, the takeaway from the presentation today, I think.
I agree. Yes. That wraps up all our questions. I was very excited to be a part of the call. I had my notebook out, and I know that other people gained a lot from this. Again, I'm Gabrielle Brooks. I am a legislative assistant for Legislator Kevan Abrahams, and I will let the Chief of Staff, Robin Wheat, close us out for today. Thank you again. In the discussion box for our attendees that are still on, the very last message is a full contact list of all of the organizations that we had represented today. I included their websites, a few of their applications. Please keep in mind the Village of Hempstead application process is due very soon, I believe next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. The address is also now in that document if you do decide to pick up an application in person. The phone number is there, all emails are there, and a few small bulleted points of what you need to do to qualify for these programs. But please, 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 as it was just stated, attend these counseling education programs, visit their website, and contact these organizations directly to make sure that you're getting all the information that you need to ensure that you're going about it the right way. And again, I just want to thank everyone for being a part of it. And while we are closing out, I will start a small polling. It is 3 questions. So any attendee that is still on, if you wouldn't mind taking the polling, we would really appreciate it.
So thank you very much, Gabby. On behalf of Legislator Kevan Abrahams, I too am thanking you all for participating today. This is great. So much information. So I know that many people will be contacting you directly in order to get more information, but this is great. It's great to see that those who may have been living with their parents, that 1 and 2 family homes are there, so maybe they could get a mother-daughter and still live together without being in the same household. So many grants that you can layer, as she says, so it seems like so much money out there that can be used to help out. And we love the fact that you can do the layering. We love the fact that there are different types of loans out there. We love the fact that there are banks and other institutions that are willing to help us out and to help them with savings and everything else. So I just want to say thank you all once again on behalf of Legislator Kevan Abrahams, on behalf of Legislator Debra Mule, on behalf of Glory House Recovery. And I definitely want to thank Gabby for putting together a great program, and my coworker Sharon Gripper for all the efforts that we did to make this something for, hopefully, for everyone who's looking to become a homeowner. We will keep this up. It was streamed live on Facebook. Excuse me. So anyone who wants to hear this again can go back to Facebook and they can watch it there. And we'll also have it on the legislator's his webpage here from the county, www.nassaucountiny.gov/LD1. So you can review it and get the information. So if you missed something, you can go back to it. But once again, you guys, you did a phenomenal job. We'd like to thank you all, and you will be hearing from us again because I think that this program is so worth it. And I do have to give a shout out. I'll tell you that they really work hard on trying to make this work. And Michelle, I'm sure you remember a few years ago where on Christmas Eve, you were closing a loan for someone to get their first time home buyer. So she
I do remember.
It was the last day for the voucher because they were approved. There were a lot of issues that went on. But Michelle, we thank you because they are still in there.
I do remember.
So we know that everyone is working really hard on making sure that we get these first-time home buyers. So once again, thank you all very much. We'll be in touch, and we look forward to getting many more first-time home buyers, whether it's a standalone house, co-op, condo, whatever it may be, one family, 2 family, everything. So once again, have a great day. The weather is beautiful today. And please, if any of you should notice that anyone came from this workshop, please let us know, because we'd like to definitely let the legislator know that it was very helpful. So once again, have a good day, and we will all speak soon. Thank you.
Thank you for putting this together.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Applications are due Monday. Take care.
Well, thank you for pulling that together. I think it's going to be very useful.
We appreciate you, Rosemary. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You can close up.